You know, I could put in a word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested.
You don't need
No way, fag. Leon has yellow fever, that's why he can't. Yet another pointless remake, hooray. At least this is enough of a reimagining to be worth playing at least once. They tried way too hard to make it more skill-based, which eliminated some of the fun. Also, the fucking Resident Evil 2 remake controls do not work for a full-blown action game. I swear half the fucking time, I felt like I couldn't do something because there's input lag, either from not being able to, like, switch directions fast. I couldn't pull up my knife fast enough because I was doing some other animation. They really should have tightened up some of that shit. NP, thanks $2. Yellow Fever, he's just like me, for real. They had some good ideas. They improved some of the boss fight. Ashley was better than the original. Krauser was also better than the original version. The whole Krauser shit, that was the only time this felt it had like the 80s action movie tone. So they did a good job with that. Sadler was better as a cult leader, aware it wasn't a real faith, and his speech was better too. He completes the game's theme of it being an action movie parody, exposing the game's Hollywood cliches. Yeah, I mean, he even says it. I mean, he lampshades that he says it's not like one of your Hollywood movies, even though it's exactly like a Hollywood movie. Yeah, so the biggest downgrades were the characters, definitely. Like, holy shit. The cutscenes, the writing, it's all downgrade. Graphics and game mechanics are improved, but missing cheesy lines from the original kind of reduced my immersion. Yeah, they tried to make it more serious. I don't know why, because Resident Evil 4 is not a serious game, and this was not a serious game either, so it just detracted from it. Fucking, oh wow, oh, a COVID mask, oh, that's not going to be dated at all. That was the only good thing I could say about Resident Evil 3 Remake. It had a shit ton of bonus content, probably because the game was only 4 hours long, but it did have a lot of unlockables. Yeah, the game barely had wokeness. They just cut gender dialogue, which is, it has censorship, which is, I guess, a type of wokeness, but at least it's not, they didn't make Ashley a strong, independent woman. They just made Ada more annoying, that's what they did. Check out Metacritic user scores for RE4 Remake, LMAO. Why, are they salty, or are they jerking it off too much? PC ratings are a 5.9, what the fuck? I want to read some of these. What a disgrace, does not even come close to the original in any aspect. Anyone claiming otherwise should be ashamed of themselves. It's RE3 in a different setting, same clunky controls, same boring weapon sounds, and music is just so lame compared to the original. 19 of 20 users found this helpful. This is, and here's 10, like, what the fuck is going on? How do you go, Metacritic is such a worthless fucking site. 0, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 0, 5, okay, see, like a 5 or a 7, maybe I could, there's an actual review here. Fun game, but the only thing really holding it back for me is Leon's movement and combat. Dude is especially trained agent, but barely runs even when his life is in danger. He also just feels slow, and aiming feels weird for a special agent. I played games with random civilians. I could do combat better than him. Yeah. Just finished it and I really like it, but it's disappointed me. There are a few things that kept this remake from swimming in the same territory of greatness in the original. It needs invincibility frames badly. The enemies and bosses can hit you over and over before you can properly recover. This gets extremely frustrating. In the original, Leon moves stiffly but is swift once you start running. In the remake, Leon is really clunky. Not the same set, blah 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 blah. That's a lot of words. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, and this guy played on hardcore too. Yeah. Hardcore mode just fucking sucks. And they tell you that, oh, if you played Resident Evil 4, you should play this. I love when people write an essay for review, lol. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's too much text. You got to keep it short. With a video, at least, you know, you got gameplay to watch, maybe music in the background. You might like the voice. Can't defend bad gunplay with no impact. And that's not really true, though. I feel like if you watch the last 2 to 3 hours of gameplay, I was pretty much stunning the Ganados in one hit every time. Now, they did make the follow-up attacks harder to trigger, which I don't agree with. But I think they mainly just didn't balance hardcore mode in the early game. And it really just sucks for the first, you know, The first 5 hours, the combat, the enemies feel like bullet sponges. These are like fucking. And then you have the bot reviews. I feel like anyone giving this a 10, it's a bot, 100%. They're never gonna purge the bots though. They'll purge zeros, which I mean are also bots. Like this guy gave it a 1 because the voice acting is bad, and the writing is bad, which I agree with. But it's like only 10% of what matters in a video game, I'd say. I feel like they've also bought the helpfuls for the 10 out of 10s too. Like it's just bots upvoting bots, you know what I mean? The ending was Leon and Ashley running out of gas and being stuck in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, they need to stop making remakes, and if they do make another one, for the love of God, overhaul the movement. The movement feels so fucking bad. Like that is the worst gameplay part, for sure. Like you can get used to the other shit. You can get used to like having to knife instead of shoot things out of the air. Like, you know, it took me a long time to get used to that. But you'll get used to it. What you won't get used to is how shitty the controls feel. Like that is just, it's so bad. Ada's voice acting is terrible though. That was actually terrible. Check Steam reviews. One of you guys, I don't know if you're watching this right now, but one of you guys wrote a review. That's funny. Actually, you got 41 upvotes. Here, we'll read whoever S. Buckler is. I don't know if you're here in chat right now. Since everyone is leaving a glowing review for the game just existing, or for how amazing the new Leon and his hair looks, try this on for size. So humans have now acquired the ability to conclude that a game/remake is perfection or a certified masterpiece with under 2 hours of playtime, whatever happened to completing a game and then reminiscing about what worked versus what did not. Anyway, anything that the reputable journos and the shills on YouTube deem as perfection, I'll always take with a grain or a bag of salt. Initial playthrough on hardcore. It really seems like common problems come from playing the game on hardcore. We all got fucking duped. Like so far, faithful yet loose as an adaptation. Alright, I'm not gonna read all this. I'll point out anything. See, Day Zero DLC for a remake of an 18-year-old game that's already full price. Exclusive treasures and locked weapons that can't be earned in game. Oh, we're doing the good old OG soundtrack DLC while at it. Lovely. Yep, good old Capcom. Thankfully I already wrote that down as the first note because I will be bringing it up early. Capcom cuts content quite a bit from all sections depending on what RE Engine assets and textures they have at their disposal to reuse/repurpose. Inconspicuous trims in the village, more noticeable cuts in the castle, and El Gigante-sized cuts in the island. Yeah, the island, I knew they would cut certain parts of the island. With the castle, I wouldn't even call it cuts in the castle. It's more like the castle is just completely different. But yes, they did cut things too. They cut things and it's just not even, doesn't even resemble the original. Yep, no separate ways. Yeah, we knew they would reuse assets from Village. That's not a shock at all. I think as soon as the game came out, people were saying that was going to be the case. I don't really care that much though. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll give you a like since the whole stream got to see that. But I gotta say, you know, focus more on the gameplay aspects because you know it is a video game. That is my main critique of the review. But I agree with the criticisms. I do. I had fun on hardcore, not having fun on professional. I can't imagine fucking playing professional on this from a fresh new game. That sounds like actual torture. I'll wait to see if they nerf it with a patch or something because hardcore was already felt incredibly unbalanced at the beginning, where it was just not that it was super hard, but just that enemies were bullet sponges. Gameplay is worse than original. Also true. That's why I'm saying you could definitely write about that because that's my main concern, you know. Where the Resident Evil 2 remake is better voice acting than a game where characters speak more. That might not be weird. I feel like if you have far less lines, then they probably could afford to spend more time on the voice direction or more takes. I don't know if that's actually how they did it. I'm just saying that could be. 7 might be a little bit too low. I feel like decent Ubisoft game is basically what a 7 is. This is at least a step above a good Ubisoft game. It's too well made and competent to give it anything lower than the 7. Yeah, definitely. Like, I could definitely see an argument for 7, but I think it's probably an 8. Given RE4 remake 8.5. Well, I'd say 8. I'd bump it down to 8. 8.5 slightly too generous. I'd say it's like an 8. 70 for a 20-hour game, a little not worth it. How is it in my own mods have an opinion that I vehemently disagree with like that? If a 10-hour game is a 10 out of 10, it's worth way more money than an 100-hour game that's like a fucking 6, which is every Ubisoft game pretty much. Like Resident Evil 4, I mean, yeah, okay, it does have more than 20 hours of content just because it also has separate ways, Assignment Ada and Mercenaries, but the main campaign, which is the part anyone cares about, is what, like 12 hours long? Silver Ronin, do you pay to go to the movie theater? I have to wonder, because it's $10 to watch, you know, a 90 to 120 minute movie. Usually 120 these days. But that's way less, like, price to, you know, like, the money to time ratio there is much worse than any video game. Now, if you say you pirate yeah, I fucking knew you would say you pirate movies. Which third world country are you from? So I can demod you right now. No, I'm kidding. I don't really care. But seeing shit like that. My live stream chat has been taken over by V contrarians, and I guarantee half of you didn't even play it. Half of you who are giving the game a rating is based on watching me play it. You don't need to play it. We see all the garbage changes, bro. That's every reimagining. Like, a reimagining, the whole purpose is to change the game. If it said it was a faithful remake, which I don't think they ever advertised it as such, then you shouldn't expect it to be one. Thank you for the great stream, Synthetic Man. Really enjoyed it. Definitely going to wait for a sale on this one if and when I buy it. Yeah, that's probably a good call. Especially since, for once, I seem to be the one overrating it here, because I did like the challenge once I finally got good at the core gameplay. That said, still a downgrade though. Still a downgrade. I definitely, I mean, I shouldn't be too shocked by this. Maybe it's just from growing up on IGN and Game Informer reviews. But to me, a 5 out of 10 is basically dog shit. Like, to me. Not in a literal sense. Like, a 5 out of 10 is... Like, Duke Nukem Forever is like a 5 out of 10, as in it's perfectly playable. Honestly, it's not as bad as its reputation would have you believe. Like, I would say a 4 is about as low as you can go while the game is still perfectly functional. Below a 4 out of 10 is basically like, you know, a glitchy mess. You know, that's like a game that fails to be a video game, right? Because it would be the same thing with a film, too. Like, a 3 out of 10 movie is like a laughably bad, like, $5 piece of shit type thing. $5 movie was the saying. Your rating system is bad. You're bad. I mean, if a 5, like I said, 5 out of 10 means equally good, equally bad. It does not mean a mean average of review. Like, that doesn't even make sense, actually. Because what do you base a average game off of? What's the average? It's not a game journalist average, because they give every game a 7 or 8. So what's your argument for the 5 out of 10 average system when there is no average? You literally are making up an average in your head. 5 out of 10 being equally good, equally bad, means that a game that is 50% bad is dog shit. See? Makes perfect sense. Can't refute that logic. What's a 5 out of 10 game? Oh, Duke Nukem Forever. I already said it. Duke Nukem Forever is 5 out of 10. Where it's perfectly playable. I mean, it might be a little buggy. You could probably argue for 4 just based on some bugginess, but I think after the patches, it was fine. It was just a shooter. It was fine. Yeah, see? Just like school, 50% is an F. I agree with William Media. See, Sonic 06 is like a 2. It's like a 2 or something, because the game just doesn't work. It's like so bad it's good, right? And yeah, I probably will play it at some point. Is Forspoken a 5? You know what? Forspoken, just based on the time I played it, that might be a 5. Duke Nukem is 3. This is what I'm saying. Like, you say I'm ridiculous, but Duke Nukem Forever, have you played Duke Nukem Forever, Kevin? Like, it's just a shooter. Like, it's not even, like, its reputation is way worse than it deserves. I played the game from start to finish. Forspoken's a straight 4. I see, here we go. Here we go. Are you guys wonder why I haven't put, scores in my reviews? Here's why. Because it's what someone calls a 5. Like, here's an example. Let's change the subject to women. Every woman ever is a 6 out of 10 according to men, or at least their girlfriends are a 6 out of 10. Bullshit. That means everybody's above average. That doesn't make any sense. And we're doing this in reverse, where you guys are basically saying that anything that is a playable game, perfectly competent, if we hadn't played 1,000 games before, we would think it's fine. Like, let's be real. Ubisoft game, they're not bad games. They're bad because we played 10 of the same fucking game already, right? So, in a vacuum, most of them are probably like a 7. But we're not going to say that because we've played 10 of them. You just have to be realistic about, like, what's good, what's bad about the game. That makes no sense, though. Explain, chat. Everything's above average. Ubisoft is... No, what? See, you're warping the definition of average. Average doesn't mean average. 5 out of 10... you know what? I'm just going to dispute that 5 out of 10 even means average. 7 out of 10 is average. 5 out of 10 means equally good, equally bad. I almost want to make a fucking video about this because this is complete horseshit and you guys know it. Like, this is stupid. Or 6 out of 10. 6 or 7 is average, either one. Most games are perfectly playable. The difference between me and all of you guys is I have enough self-awareness to realize it's because I played hundreds of games is why I don't like average games anymore. That's exactly what it is. I'm the guy with self-awareness. You're all NPCs. I'm the best. There we go. You just said 6 out of 10 was above average for the girlfriend example. Well, that's what, yeah, I mean, exactly, Professor Yeet. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, see, you guys aren't saying which subject we're talking about. But yeah, for the woman thing, that's why I'm mocking the idea, right? For looks, 5 out of 10 is average because people are just, you rate things flatly on a scale from 1 to 10, right? So you would compare all people based on whatever the average person looks like, right? But for video games, when you're rating something, it's based on what's good and what's bad, and do the goods outweigh the bad, right? So they're two completely different things. I honestly shouldn't have even brought up the woman thing, now that I'm thinking about it. My point is, average does not mean 5 out of 10. That's I'm going to stick with that. That is just my opinion. Doug Keller, thanks $2. Gaming is dying and ratings are ruining. Well, a lot of other people don't do ratings for that exact reason, I think. No, chat definitely loses this. You guys didn't even put up an argument. It's sad that one guy can out-argue over 400 people. All those answers, and you couldn't. 7 out of 10 is like fast food, while everything above is like restaurant food. Fast food is perfectly eatable, but no one would say it's amazing. I'd say good, yeah, good fast food, I'd say is a 7 out of 10. But, like, average fast food would probably be below that. I don't know. Nope. See, you guys are saying cope. It's just projection, peak projection from you guys. Yeah, the analogy about the food wasn't very good, I gotta say. Yeah, bad chat analogy. So chat loses again, is what we're agreeing. I agree. Why is your chat disagreeing with you so much? I don't know. Because they don't understand that average doesn't mean average. Like, average does not mean, like, global mean average. That if I took everything and divided it by, you know, the number of things, and I'd get to 5, that's not how it works. Like, it's none of those average. Average is just whatever is the sum quality. Like, if you took we could take every game ever made or whatever, right? You just put them on a rating system. 5 is not going to be the average. It's just not going to be, because games... They will be probably after another 5 years of shitty ass AAA releases. I wouldn't be surprised if it got down to 5. But as it stands right now, most games are more good than they are bad. It's just that simple. End of story. Yeah, I mean, this is all artificial JNG automation. I mean, I don't really care. At the end of the day, I'm just saying, like, 5 being average doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Like, it does if you're a midwit. That's like, it's like this is the bell curve argument. You guys are the midwit in the center that thinks that 5 is average. And then, like, there's the retard who knows just through his primal brain that's not right. And then there's me, genius, obviously, who knows that exposed. You guys got destroyed. At that point, it's not even a 1 out of 10 rating system. It's just a 6 out of 10 because nothing below 6 exists. I just gave you an example of things below 6. Duke Nukem Forever is a 5. Sonic 06 is probably like a 2. Maybe Sonic 06 might be the 1, but not really. I'd say Big Rigs. Big Rigs Racing is a 1 because it's not even a functional game. That's what a 1 out of 10 is. You guys just hate video games, unironically. You guys are what people think my channel is. See? There you go. Big Rigs is a 1 out of 10 because it doesn't work. That's what a 1 out of 10 is. You guys just exaggerate. Drama queens, all of you. NP, thanks to $2. I love your stuff, but this is a soithetic moment. Well, you can't. The fact that you super chat and can't actually come up with an argument to disagree with me means I'm just correct, I guess. Not an argument. Yeah, see? I knew you hated games, Silver Ronin. I don't care if you're being sarcastic or not. Shovelware shouldn't count. See, here we go. Professor Yeet. Oh, you guys, you're dumb. You're just dumb. You guys are dumb and I'm smart. It's the end of story. Shovelware doesn't count as a game. Then what the fuck's the point? You guys, if anything, you guys are making my argument for me. Musty Crust, thanks to $2. It's a 7, that's it. I don't care if you guys think it's 7, that's fine. Like 7, 8, whatever. It's around there somewhere. Have you counted how many games are around to come to that conclusion? That doesn't matter. I just told you average isn't like a mean average anyway. Like, it doesn't work that way. You can't. And here's the thing, guys. If we use journalist reviews, which we wouldn't, but if we did, you guys know I'd be correct. So you guys literally just have a fantasy argument in your head with no data, nothing to substantiate it. You just think 5 being average sounds right. But nothing else. That's it. That's all you got. Tommy4242, thanks $2. Average of a normal distribution is a 5 at middle. Yeah, exactly. I've just spent this entire argument saying why that doesn't make sense. This is again midwit answers that just don't get it. Don't get what I'm saying. It's not like I'm even being vague. I feel like you're purposely misinterpreting what I'm saying for some reason. If you take every fucking game journalist review and you took the average of that, it would be a 7 or an 8. It would 100% be like a 7 at least. They overrate every game ever. So where does the idea of a 5 even come from? Like, what? It's just, again, you just think it's right. That's it. There's nothing else. Capcom paid this. I'm just saying. You created this community. You have no right to complain, though. I don't get to choose who joins my community. That's not how it works. People just follow somebody based on whatever they say. You guys follow me because I'm a contrarian, apparently. That's what I'm learning. I get what you're saying. If they use the scale properly, it'd be a 5. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I wish I could pause chat to explain. The average video game is not average. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A 5 out of 10 is equally good and equally bad, right? Or it's just unremarkable in any way, right? That's what a 5 out of 10 is. It's a perfectly bland piece of entertainment. Even the average AAA game is more than a bland piece of entertainment. Now, you know what? You can disagree, but I guarantee if you stopped playing any video games for a year, not a single one, didn't touch one, you'd eat up that Ubisoft slop in a minute. I would bet $1,000, $1,000 fucking dollars, any one of you in chat, if you stopped playing games for a year and then played a Ubisoft game, you'd give it at least a 7. Case closed. William Media, thanks for $10. Been watching your videos for a little while and enjoyed this stream. As a fellow right end of the bell curve guy, you're right about review scores. 5 is an F, 7 is a C, RE4 Remake's an 8, RE4 OG's a 10. Well, thank you. I'm glad at least one guy reviews with me. The rating system is similar to game journals. Well, they have a point. I just dispute the numbers that they say. They rate everything about 2 points above what it should be. You guys think they rate every game like 4 points above, which at what point are you just as wrong as they are? I mean, that's just kind of comical after a certain point. Yeah, this is V. My chat is literally V. Well said, Synth. Being wise enough to spend your time with something worthwhile is perfectly sensible. It's good to be discerning in choosing video games as well as anything else. But yeah, there's like no consequences for thinking every game is a 5. Literally what we're talking about doesn't matter, because basically the only thing that's changing is the number. You guys have a threshold of what you consider worthwhile purchase for a video game. I don't know if that's a 7 or what. 7 or 8 is what you think might be good enough for your money. For me, good enough is probably like it's at least an 8, depending on the genre. If it's like a 3D platformer, then I'll take an 8 any day. But if it's like a genre I don't give a shit about, it probably has to be like a 9 for me to even like consider playing something I wouldn't play normally, right? Because it's just not a genre I like. But I'd say 8 is probably like, okay, this is a good game. This is actually worth money and my time, I'd say. That's basically what I'd say. But from what you guys are saying, it would be, I don't know, like, I mean, why wouldn't you play a 6.5? Because that's like considerably above the average, don't you think? If 5 is average, a 6.5 is like, oh shit, you know, that could be a good time. That's what it sounds like. But you guys aren't consistent with your own beliefs. That's all I'm saying. I mean, maybe some of you are, but I would play anything that I deem as 7 or higher. That's fairly reasonable, I guess. But the point is like, I don't know. Your guys' rating scale is based on common sense instead of like actually analyzing what you're thinking, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm looking at this from almost a philosophical perspective. What score would I give to Dark Souls 2? Probably like a 7. Yeah, it's just like, it's a flat 7. It's probably, you know, if you like action RPGs, check it out, I guess. That's pretty much it. Elden Ring is an 8. I actually agree with that. Artorias Knight. I didn't like Elden Ring that much to like, I mean, I liked Elden Ring. I think it's a very well-made game. I can acknowledge that, but it certainly was significantly less good than some other things. 5 out of 10 mid game. See, this is the problem. Mid was a mistake, period. It's not even good. It doesn't even sound good. Zoomers just have bad taste, period. Even their sayings make no sense. Like Dark Souls 2 is better than Elden Smack. Jesus Christ, this is what I'm talking about. My chat, like, at one point I feel like 5 is halfway between masterpiece and steaming pile of dog shit. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I also don't think that the average AAA game is halfway between a masterpiece and a pile of dog shit. It's at least slightly more skewed toward masterpiece. Otherwise, they'd be unplayable. I'm not making a poll. This, like I said, that's like saying, is Call of Duty good? I'll go on a Call of Duty stream. So a mediocre game that isn't horrible 5. Exactly, and I don't think most AAA releases are mediocre. I think they're at least slightly above that. When I say a game's mediocre, then you'll know it's a 5. I have said mediocre in a few reviews. I just can't think off the top of my head because of what time it is. But anything I called mediocre is 5 out of 10. You're a Zoomer for giving this an 8. You're a Zoomer for being bad at video games. I don't know. Because at least it's hard. Resident Evil 4 is too easy, and they wanted to make it more skill-based. I don't disagree with it. This is Synthetic Man versus Chat. This is the ultimate version. This is like the end game, where I feel like I could probably just end the stream at any time and it would make no difference. But I'm actually invested enough in this conversation to stick around. God of War Ragnarok, probably like a 6. Which, you know, if people are there's gonna be one guy lurking in here. This is like, he thinks it's a fucking 6. It's a masterpiece. No, it's boring as shit. It's like a 6. His name is literally Bruh Man. That guy's under 18. Yep, see? Aurelian, gotcha, Bruh Man. See, some of you actually agree that it's a 6. Because I think it's so boring. I think it's so boring I'm actually rating it even below like what you think I might rate it. You know what I mean? I love how that's the moment where chat's like, I don't know why this is so funny to me. No, Cleveland Brown. I was saying God of War Ragnarok's a 6 because we were having an argument about shit. Yeah, see, I think we could probably end the stream on that just because God of War Ragnarok is it's gonna be, you know, I remember a couple of years ago being like, is Doom Eternal just gonna be the game I bring up every once in a while when I feel like pissing people off? But I'm like, God of War Ragnarok is so much better for that because first of all, I fucking hate Sony. I hate Sony fanboys even more than Sony. So and people keep calling it a masterpiece. Like Doom Eternal, people don't talk about really anymore. I mean, it has its fans, and it is a well-made game. But God of War Ragnarok's just a boring fucking. I mean, the only reason I even give it a 6 is just because like at least the gameplay is fun when you get to play it. Otherwise, I would give it probably a 5. You know, maybe it's like. Yeah, Doom Eternal's better than God of War Ragnarok, definitely. What's a 10? Yeah, OG RE4, Metroid Prime. It's a short list, guys. Even my favorite games, I wouldn't give a 10. You know, like Spyro 1, I wouldn't give it a 10. It's my favorite game. I wouldn't give it a 10. Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal, wouldn't give it a 10 either, really. I don't know. There's very, very few things that are actually a 10. Nah, I don't think I would give New Vegas a 10 either, really. It has a lot of issues. And I'm not talking about bugs. I'm talking about, like, writing, immersion-breaking shit. Uchu N, thanks for the 44 rupees. Last Gods of Us is a 100. In no particular order. Spyro 1, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, Resident Evil 4, Dark Souls, Silent Hill 2, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, one of the Super Marios. Probably Sunshine. I love Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Galaxy 1, that's probably a 10. That's a good one, Rick Dick. I think Super Mario Galaxy 1 is a 10. There's another 10 out of 10 for you.